Greetings, all! Today, we will be examining the exceptionally rare Grass Flying-type Pokemon Rowlet, the Grass Quill Pokémon, its equally rare evolution Dartrix, the Blade Quill Pokémon, and its equally rare Grass Ghost-type final evolution Decidueye, the Arrow Quill Pokémon. Clever in battle, and more than capable of making a name for themselves in long-range combat, the members of the Rowlet family are fascinating birds that can definitely prove to be a handful to deal with without a way to get close to them out of harm's way. Rowlet have small, rounded bodies with brown feathers covering most of their outer form, save for the white feathers that coat the inside of their wings and underbelly, and the green leaf feathers that can be found on the inside of their wings. They perch on two orange, three-toed feet with two digits in the front and one in the back, have a bow tie-like growth of two leaves that cling to the outer chest, and their big black eyes help to frame their stubby, rounded beak, which is white on top and orange on the bottom. Their evolved form, Dartrix, have a larger body frame with a more traditional owl shape to them, and have lost most of their brown feathers, the majority of their frame being covered in white feathers with a brown scarf-like halo of them around their upper torso and head. Their eyes are slanted and usually not visible, and they have brown spots in their wings with green and orange blade quills on the inside edges of their wings where they connect to their body. They additionally have a sprig of green leaf material that frames the top of their face and comes down in curls on their right side, giving them the appearance of a dapper hairstyle. Their final evolution, Decidueye, have a slight brownish tinge to the white feathers on their body, and their outer wings are covered in brown feathers, with three feather digits at the end of their wings used to grasp objects and a series of orange, pointed quiver tips on the inside of their wings, the mark where their arrow quills are stored in their wings. Their feet are now white with bluish-green claws, and the top of their body and head is adorned with a green jacket of feathers that come up and over the edges and top of their head like a hood, with a white and orange feather cap on top that can be pulled to tighten the feather hood around their frame. They further have a pair of elastic vines attached to their feather hood that they can use to knock and fire off their arrow quills, and the bottom edge of their hoodie, below their dark green beak and orange eyes, has a brown accent chest mark. The members of the Rowlet family follow an interesting evolutionary development throughout the course of their life as a result of a symbiotic plant form that is bonded to them before they are even born. This plant is a benign presence in their systems for the entire duration of their life and enjoys a very symbiotic relationship with these creatures, for during the daytime these birds will usually spend their time sleeping in bright sunlight where the plant part of the body can use photosynthesis to produce and gather energy for itself and its host, which works out well for these birds as not only are they primarily nocturnal hunters, but, more importantly, the plant is rarely ever in danger, as the plant's form is so well hidden that it is hardly noticeable until the birds open their wings, revealing that the plant has fused with their feathers to produce a variety of different feather forms. In the case of Rowlet, this plant is not very visible at all unless they open their wings, and while their grass quills can take some time to grow back, they are often fired by Rowlet in leafage and razor leaf attacks as a weapon of physical harm from a distance. Evolution only serves to increase the power of these leaves, as they become blade quills when they evolve into Dartrix, being coated with a thin biofilm that hardens upon being exposed to the air to give the tips and edges of the leaves a razor-sharp edge, and finally into arrow quills when they evolve into Decidueye, which they can fire off just like arrows to deal damage from afar and with great precision. Needless to say, these beasts are powerful and accurate long-range fighters that can strike both up close and afar with some vicious moves, and are more than capable of holding their own against many fighters. But they are also unique among starter Pokemon for being the only one known to actually lose a type assignment as they grow and develop, as while Rowlet and Dartrix are grass flying types, Decidueye, their final evolution, is a grass ghost type. It is uncertain why this happens, but the loss of their flying type nature can be explained by the creatures not having the right body form to be able to fly effectively, while their ghost type attributes may come as a result of them communing with the natural world around them and becoming able to harness its spiritual essence as a hunter in the night. Regardless of the reasoning, this makes these creatures surprisingly versatile, and they are able to make good use of their power to make themselves a serious threat, even if they do not gain anything in the way of extra stamina or physical defense when evolving from Dartrix into Decidueye. As a whole, as with all grass-type starter Pokemon, these creatures are incredibly in tune with the natural world around them and are able to use its power so effectively that they normally only possess access to the Overgrow ability as the base ability, but they are distinct in that if they are able to use their contact attacks with enough distance, in part thanks to their projectile feather forms, they can also possess the signature long reach ability as a hidden ability, which ensures that any attack that they use that normally would make direct contact does not make contact at all, allowing them to strike with their best physical attacks close enough to get a hit in without actually putting their form in harm's way. In terms of stats, and looking at Decidueye, their physical defenses are not that great, and the larger frames mean that they tend to not be very fast at all, so their base defense and speed stats are below average for a fully evolved grass and ghost type Pokemon. However, they do have some decent stamina to them and are able to not only take special damage fairly well, but can deal damage effectively both up close and afar, even if they do prefer physical attacks over special ones, and thus, the base HP stat is above average for a fully evolved ghost type Pokemon, and the base attack, special attack, and special defense stats are above average for a fully evolved Pokemon of both of their types. This helps to make these birds more than a bit imposing, and definitely not creatures that you want to challenge to a battle of long-range combat and accuracy if you have even an inkling of what they are capable of. Despite their small size, Rowlet are actually highly efficient nocturnal hunters and spend almost the entire night hunting for small rodents and other food materials to feast on. They are assisted in their hunting by their feathers, which are coated in a special film that allows them to fly through the air quite silently, easily sneaking up on prey items from behind and attacking them with their powerful legs, kicking them and slashing them apart with their sharp talons before feasting on them. The sheer ferocity with which they attack heavily belittles their otherwise adorable appearances and renders them far more dangerous than their cute and rounded form might otherwise make them out to be. While they can act for most of the night unhindered, these creatures must sleep as soon as the sun begins to rise, so as dusk approaches, they will find a small space or pocket to rest in, as they are relaxed by tight dark spaces, and thus will often come to use the pockets or bags of trainers as nests for them to rest comfortably in. Aside from their legs, as noted before, these creatures can fire sharpened grass quills from their wings in moves like Leafage and Razor Leaf to attack from afar, and these blows tend to be quite vicious and difficult to counter, cutting through others like blades and leaving vicious marks that can sometimes take a while to heal. However, while they might be able to make themselves into a threat despite their young age, these birds are still quite wary of others and will only fight an opponent if they feel they have a chance of winning, so keeping their confidence up is imperative to making sure that they are ready for whatever comes at them. It is lastly noted that these birds have a habit of rotating their heads 180 degrees horizontally to not only see potential attacks from behind, but, in the case of trained specimens, to also look at their trainer to get a better idea of their commands, making sure that they do not mishear them and make a mistake, as this will upset them a great deal if it happens and they lose a battle because of it. As Rowlet evolve into Dartrix, the grass quills that they use to attack change form slightly and become what are known as blade quills, under which their edges are sharpened by a thin film that hardens in the air as it covers them, and they have the capacity to regenerate these blade quills almost the instant they are released, allowing them to readily pelt targets from afar with them in rapid succession. This is helped out by the fact that they are incredibly accurate with their shots, almost never missing with their attacks, and can even slightly bend their blade quills before firing them to cause them to curve in the air, allowing them to attack from multiple angles. This is complemented by their superb hearing, as they are able to use the leaves to now cover part of their head to detect minute changes in the air around them to determine the position of opponents, enabling them to detect targets even when they are behind them, giving them the chance to retaliate with great efficiency. While this can certainly make these creatures a severe handful to have to deal with, at the same time, they can be a bit tricky to handle as they are clean freaks and have a tendency to become over-obsessed with their forms when they really shouldn't be. Acting and looking like a bit of a dandy, these birds will spend their free time constantly preening their feathers as a narcissistic and nervous tick, as any dirt that is on their form will distract them enough to render them unable to battle. In fact, if they are not diligently groomed by their trainers, they will often stop listening to them until they can get themselves completely cleaned off, leaving them vulnerable to attack. They also tend to be a bit of a, well, bird brain when it comes to errors, for if they make a mistake, instead of accepting it and learning from it, these birds will often act like nothing happened and continue on, which can lead to even more mistakes that can quickly snowball out of control. This can make them very difficult to train, but as long as one does their best to keep them cool-headed and clean, they can be fine companions to work with until they manage to fully mature. When Dartrix finally evolve, their EV yield changes from 2 in HP to 3 in attack, and they become much more adept at using their feathers as a weapon in battle. As already stated, evolution transforms the blade quills of these creatures into arrow quills, which these birds use like actual arrows in order to attack others, using elastic vines attached to their hood to knock the feathers before firing them at extreme speed. The reaction times of these creatures are so great that they can knock an arrow quill and fire it within 1/10 of a second, and they are so accurate that they can easily pierce a pebble at a distance of over 100 yards. Moreover, just as with Dartrix, they can bend these arrows before firing them in order to alter their trajectory, ensuring that almost none can avoid their attacks when they are at their best. If they especially need to concentrate, they can tug on the feather top of the leaf hoodie they wear to tighten it, instituting tunnel vision that helps them to focus and concentrate on their target for maximum accuracy, the hoodie itself being the result of the plant integrated within them, reaching a state of full maturity in the host's body and doubling as a sleeping cap that they can close in the daytime to block out the sun and make it easier for them to rest. However, it is noted that these birds, if they become spooked or surprised for some reason, will quickly lose their cool and become panicked, potentially rendering them vulnerable to attack and unable to properly defend themselves as their accuracy decreases. When it comes to their combat attributes, these birds are a bit above the rest, as not only does evolution grant them potential access to the U-turn, Shadow Sneak, Phantom Force, and Leaf Storm attacks, as a direct connection to their arrows and the addition of a greater connection to the spirits of the forests they dwell in, but they also gain immediate access after evolving to their Spirit Shackle attack, a unique attack in which the user casts an Old Forest incantation on an Arrow Quill before firing it. The impact of the arrow causes the incantation to activate and effectively deals ghost-type damage, while essentially stitching the target's shadow to the ground with spiritual energy, ensuring that they cannot easily be switched out or move very far from their point of impact, in turn making it far easier for these birds to track their target and attack with extreme precision and accuracy. In addition to this, Decidueye are one of the few species of Pokemon known that have their own special signature Z crystal, the Decidueye Z, which allows them to turn the signature Spirit Shackle attack into the Sinister Arrow Raid attack, a move that involves them firing a multitude of cursed arrows in order to inflict massive damage against an opponent, helping to make it a terrifying move to have to behold and a devastating weapon to have access to in battle. Though they might look cute and fluffy at a young age, the members of the Rowlet family are fierce fighters that can prove to be quite the long-range threat if they are given even a moment to prepare an attack. They might go through some odd changes to the type assignment as they grow and develop, and thus force trainers to likely change how they use them, but these birds are more than worth the hassle and can prove to be quite the sharpshooters with the right training and care. Just do yourself a favor and make sure that you keep them clean and never try to run from them in the wild. They might not be able to do much more than sting or cut you while their powers are still developing, but anger and try to run from a fully grown Decidueye, and you will quickly find out just how accurate these marksmen are when they stitch you to the ground with their shots and finish you off without you ever getting the chance to retaliate or even see where their shots are coming from. Thank you all for watching this video. It is always an honor to be able to speak with you all on the subject of Pokemon in a way that brings me great joy and happiness in my work. If you would like to keep tabs on past and future work, click that subscribe button, check out my work on DeviantArt, and don't be shy about following me on Twitter, where you can find pertinent announcements on upcoming work before it is officially posted. Links to both can be found in the video description. If you would like to support my work and help Miguel and I continue to produce more content for you and improve upon our presentation, please visit us at my Patreon page, which you can also find a link to in the video description.
No.
With that, I thank you for watching and I wish you well.